Hey everybody, it's Larry from Hobby Progress, and today we are taking a break from Tyranids and we're going to play a little bit with a Taurox. I've had this for a little bit. As you can see, I got it primed black already. Did that while you guys weren't looking. And I'm going to put on a little bit of gold. I think I've told you in other episodes that along with my custodians, I want to have some Tempestus Scions painted up a in a gold pattern to match them, so that I can have cheaper infantry support for my custodians. So that is the goal for today, is to get a little bit of gold onto a Taurox. So, while I'm getting gold on this Taurox, give you a little recap. It's been a little bit. So my Tyranid army played in the RTT since the last time that we talked, and I went 2-1, so not bad. First round was against Tau, and it was a newer player. Its camera angle is terrible, so we're gonna try to. Nope. Yes. Sort of. Yeah. Okay. That's a little bit better camera angle. Anyway, first game was against Tau, and like I said, it was a newer player. So there were some mistakes made on his part, and my part. I mean, I'm not saying I'm some kind of perfect player, but that allowed me to get a pretty nice victory. So we'll give you a small breakdown of that game. So it was the mission where you play from the corners, and then so you got a 12-inch gap diagonally down the middle of the table, and that's usually a really bad deployment for me against a shooty army like Tau, because they can hide stuff just a god-awful long ways away from me. And it usually just ends up, getting me shot up. But it actually worked out pretty well. So he had, oh geez, I'm going to go off this list from memory, and it was almost a week ago now that I'm trying to do this. But he had 3 hammerheads, I know. Surprisingly enough, none of which was long strike. Would have thought that long strike would have been in there. He had a commander in, I think it was a Cold Star. I don't know Tau very well. I've only played him a couple of times, and I haven't played against them all that often either. So, then he had another commander that I never really saw. Probably, he had like a good squad, like 2 squads of fire warriors with a fire blade, and a squad of 3 broadsides with rail cannons and smart missile systems. So I took my Gene Stealers, all 40 of them, and my Swarm Lord, and charged them just headlong after the... oh, and he had some stealth suits. But either way, I charged them headlong after those broadsides, because the broadsides were deployed in front of all 3 of the hammerheads. And I needed those gone. So, and they did a really good job. So I managed to get first turn. I guess I should say that. So I managed to get first turn, and I managed to get a first turn assault on the broadsides. Barely lost anything to Overwatch. I think I lost like 2 Gene Stealers to Overwatch. And managed to kill all the drones and 1 broadside. So that was a pretty successful assault, I thought. I didn't get all 40 Gene Stealers in combat. I got, but I got one whole squad of 20 into combat. Like I said, I think that's a pretty good assault. And I'm going to have to go back over some of this with a smaller detail brush. My big base coat brush is not getting all the spots. It's fine. This gold goes on in such a way that I'm going to need a second coat anyway, which is fine. But yeah, so I got that off on turn 1. I managed to get so I split off my Venom Thropes from my Gene Stealers, because that's normally where they are there to protect, but I didn't have turn 1. So I kind of chained out my second squad of Gene Stealers, since they weren't going to be able to make an assault, to meet up with my Venom Thropes, who went after an objective in the center of the table. And, and they able to keep them protected. Wow, the glare on that is like crazy. But then I was able to hold that objective with Venom Thropes, backed up by Carnifexes. So I had those 3 Carnifexes with, Death Spitters and Venom Cannons. Also focused down on that objective. And then trailing the Gene Stealers across was my Zoanthropes. Figured they'd be able to do some damage over there. And they were doing some pretty good damage. Doing Zoanthropy things. And so he... and on my Hive Guard, stayed in the back on an objective with my Neurothrope. And they stayed there all game. But that's what they were supposed to do. So, on that center objective, he contested it with some stealth suits, and then a couple, he had some Piranha, too, with drones and with gun drones and fusion blasters. And so he took a Devilfish full of Fire Warriors and 3 Piranha right at the middle after that center objective that my Venom Thropes and the Carnifexes were going for. And I held that one first turn, because he wasn't able to deploy his Fire Warriors after moving the Devilfish up. But my Venom Thropes were able to hold it. And then my Carnifexes did a whole bunch of damage to the stealth suits that he brought up in there. And were able to tear them all the way up, and then was able to start doing damage to the Piranha. because I didn't want those fusion blasters getting in on my Carnifexes. Either way, he focused down on my Venom Thropes and did a little bit of damage there. Which kind of was, to be expected, because everyone goes after those Venom Thropes. Ooh, I haven't painted a vehicle in a while. And so, either way, I held that center objective really, really well. His Cold Star Commander deep struck in and tried to take another side objective. I ended up shooting that down with Neurothrope. And then I deep struck my Flying Hive Tyrant in on top of it and did that out. He castled up like 2 squads of Fire Warriors, his Fireblade, and everything in a building. And I left them alone all game, didn't touch them at all. I had no interest in going into Overwatch against like all that fire. And I didn't need it. I just let him sit on that one objective because I was trying to hold objectives. So I just kind of left the Tau alone in that corner. By turn 3, I had the center objective completely in hand, and then I had all the broadsides gone, and one of the Swarm Lord was making short work of the Hammerheads. Almost all my Gene Stealers were gone by this point, because the Fire Warriors that were castled up were just slowly picking them off at range. Luckily, I was outside of rapid fire range, but that didn't matter because I was holding an objective with the last of my Gene Stealers that was left. Yeah. So the game ended at the end of turn 3 for us because we ran out of time. But at the end of turn 3, he had just everything that was castled up and then 1 Hammerhead remaining. And that was it. And I ended up winning that game 19-6. So it was a good victory for me. Gave me positioning in the, to go ahead and, I was going to go ahead and paint that all black, but I'm going to go ahead and throw gold in there. And then we're going to have to dry brush the holy living shit out of it. That's fine. But yeah, good victory. I think it set the tone for my day. Kind of made me very confident in my army ability. Maybe a little too overconfident, but I'm not a tournament player, so I'm there to have fun. So a little overconfidence is not a big deal. Round 2, I got another player from our club that I play quite often. He's very good. And I got his Eldar, Craft World Eldar. That game went pretty poorly for me. I ended up winning, but not how I'd like to win. It was kind of a bummer win. But I basically just crashed my whole army into a line of Wave Serpents and Shining Spears and was losing everything. I was just getting thrashed because he could fall back and shoot and fall back and shoot. And I don't know, Eldar are the bane of my existence. I dislike the way they play. So yeah, but he ended up kind of not slow playing really. I mean, because but his army takes a while to play, and so we ended up going slow. Didn't make a lot of progress in the game. Made it turn 3 again, and I ended up just beating him by a tiny little fraction, So Uh, and so yeah, that was round 2. Um, round 3. So because I'm 2-0 at the moment, round 3 means I'm headed to the top table. Or no, I wasn't top table because points wise, someone else was higher. A couple other people were higher, but I don't even remember what my score with the Eldar was. But so I'm like second table, but either way, I'm in one of the top tier tables, and I just get stomped. I mean, Nurgle demons with some Khorne demons. Either way, Chaos demons all the way. It was disgustingly bad. But I mean, to make excuses and everything about how I played, the guy I played is a top tier player. I mean, he's like ITC ranked for Chaos Demons. I want to say he's like somewhere in the top 10 in the world with Chaos Demons this year so far. So I don't feel super bad for having lost to him. It's just annoying to lose. You know, anytime you lose, it's annoying. But and I didn't play my best game, not by any means. There were several turns where I think I was getting like I had been up all day because I make these videos. If you haven't noticed, by the time I post them, I make these videos really early in the morning. It's because that's when I get off work. So I had gotten off work and just basically stayed up, got my stuff done, and then went straight to the tournament. So I was getting really tired by the end of the day. I was making bad decisions, just tactical errors all over the place, and I don't know. It lost me the game in a bad way. I want to say I lost that game like 30 something to 6. He maxed out on points pretty much every turn, and I handed him a lot of victory points. He could have tabled me, but just ended up milking me for points. It was bad game. I mean, he was a good opponent, and I give him credit for because he could have just been a dick, but he wasn't. So so credit to him, but I just don't have what it takes in my army to beat that style army. His style army just it needed another big tournament tournament style list to beat, and someone that's more capable of playing that tournament list than me to beat. So yeah, that was my RTT. So I didn't end up winning any prizes. I didn't place high enough to get first, second, or third, which is where the prize pool was. I definitely didn't get best painted because, as you guys have seen, the army that I took was not fully painted, so I didn't even compete in the painting contest. Plus, there were some freaking beautiful armies up there. Ooh, excuse me. Got an orc player that always comes in. I try not to say too many names on air because people, I don't know, make it weird about it. But he always brings just this fantastic orc army. And he has this really cool display board tray, which really, really, really makes me want to build a display board for my army for when I go to tournaments and stuff like this. So, at least for my custodians, I want to build a display board because they're going to be so fantastically painted that I feel like it's necessary to have them displayed properly. And so he's got me thinking about how I can build this little board to display my army. Just enough of a board. Like I think he had it like it was like a 2 foot, like a you know yeah, like probably a 2 foot by like foot and a half board, um, that he could put all of his stuff on, just big enough to hold a 2,000 point army, and have some fluff bits laying around. I've been thinking about building a display board for the Titans anyway. Uh, so I'm thinking about integrating uh, that display board in, and then that way if I go to any tournament, I have an excuse to show off my Titan. Which, I mean, who doesn't want just an excuse to show off a Titan? And then it also accents the custodians. It'd just have to be a pretty big display board to get the Titan on it, because I want to do the Warlord. I know it's silly. I should do like, I don't know, the Warhound or something like that, but you've got a Warlord, show it off. So I'm thinking you do something like that, like with the custodians like in between its feet or at the front of it. And then all my custodians are based on top of like crushed marble floor, so it looks like black and white tile floor. And so I want to do like a marble promenade walkway thing, street with it's all broken up, like it's been in a battle, so it looks like some kind of front steps of the Imperial Palace or something like that. And have the Warlord standing on top of it. I think it'd look cool. Either way, just about got all the gold. Oh, I'm missing spots on my Taurox. Like I said, I don't know if it came across very clear because I was mumbling to myself when I said it. I haven't painted a vehicle in a while, and I've never painted a Taurox. This is my first Taurox. This thing's got like a lot of little crevices and creases and stuff's going on, and this gold goes on really thin, like so I think we're gonna have to, I know gonna have to do a second coat. It's just a matter of when I get time to make the second coat. And then we'll get back to Tyranids. Although, this weekend, I am picking up, because Hive Guard came back in stock, go figure, after I don't really need them anymore. But Hive Guard are back in stock, so I ordered 2 boxes of those. So I got 6 Hive Guard coming, hopefully on Saturday this weekend. And I also ordered an Exocrine, because I really want one. I don't need one by any means, but I want one. I think it'll offer an artillery support option that I didn't have before. And I am going to need to buy a new brush because for doing the second coat, I just want it to be smoother. And this base coat brush is really a primer brush. It's super rough. And it just leaves brush strokes like crazy. So note to self. I mean, you can see the way I'm abusing it. Like, don't do this with with good brushes. Just like scatter painting stuff on. But yeah, I don't care about this brush. It is a super cheap brush. Alright, so I have an obscenely gold Taurox. Yeah. And I'll go through, once I get the second coat on, I'm going to go through and put like a heavy coat of Nuln Oil on. That way I can get it to look weathered, so it's not so bright and shiny. And then even to the undercarriage. But yeah, do it like a heavy coat of Nuln Oil, so it's all weathered down. And then like the guns on the side, the exhaust stacks, the gun up here, and probably even the exhaust, the headers pipes that are coming out the side here, all the gearing for the tracks, and the tracks themselves are getting done up in like a silver, like a heavy gunmetal silver, like dark silver. I think I may even do the bumper in silver. And then there's logos. It's, you know, I mean, the camera's just, quality's not really that good, but there's like a skull up underneath there. There's little arrowhead logos. There's skulls. Where is it? Oh, up here on the front, you can see probably maybe there's a lion right there. Those are going to go in red. All those arrowheads are going to go in red. All the skulls and things are going to go on in red. The tracks themselves, I actually think I'm going to do them in like a black, or then dry brush over them with like a bunch of mud and stuff. And then I'm probably just going to dry brush black over the top of the gold for the undercarriage. May do like a solid black bumper, like a cast iron bumper or something, so it looks like a cast iron bumper or something for the front. I don't know. Got to play with some colors, but it's not going to just remain solid gold forever and ever. But I think it looks pretty cool. Definitely looks better in the camera than it does in person. Very, very brush strokey. But I got to let it dry before I play with it too much more. So yeah. This is Larry base coating a Taurox gold. So if you've got any more suggestions for videos or just want to leave comments, you can always leave comments in the videos and I will read those and take them into consideration. If you have any comments or questions about the show or want to make any suggestions, you can also email me at hobbyprogress@gmail.com. So yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, leave comments or email. Again, this has been Larry for Hobby Progress. Thanks for watching.